The boys spoke truth. I thought that Garrison showed compassion by letting them know that they don't blame the children. I think you should break this conversation down in a video. So, Tulips and Cat suggested I break down what Garrison said in another video. So I thought it would be a good idea to not just do that, but to also include some of the things that you all said from a couple days ago's video. I'm gonna ask now that you bear with me because I'm gonna be doing a lot of reading. So forgive me for the moments where my eyes are not focused on the camera and they're just strictly on the screen. So we know that through the exchange of this whole gift thing, that McKelty got a text from Robin stating that they were no longer going to participate in the gift exchange. It was relayed to Garrison, and Garrison said this kind of hurt. So Robin pulled her family out. I want to point out what Misty Braun 9973 said in the comments. If I pronounced that wrong, please forgive me. What was said was, I feel terrible for Robin's older girls. They obviously believe everything that Robin has told them, and of course they do. It's their mother. We know she lied because we watched her sit them down and tell them that the other family members didn't want to come to their Thanksgiving because they didn't care about them. Just like Robin keeps harping about Christine not wanting to be a part of her and her kids' lives, even after she was presented with the review clearly showing that Christine said it was Robin that she didn't want to be a part of lives only and not her kids. I read that comment because it is the perfect segue into what Garrison said, which is Robin turned it into us trying to ostracize her and playing the victim. And they said no. This is about trying to figure out how we can do this and adjust to your new Christmas rules so we can do the Christmas exchange. After all, we've been doing it for 20 years. So despite Robin being the adult, the parent, the wife, the mother that she wants to be seen as in the situation, she chose to bring McKelty and Logan in it and tell the kids that they don't want to do the exchange anymore. Cody hears this, and rather than addressing what his son said or what the children said, because Garrison wasn't the only one talking at the table, Cody brings up the fact that he made the COVID rules. He didn't say anything about what Robin said or how Robin made this entire situation about her. I'm beginning to think that Robin knew that her making certain suggestions was going to cause further division. I feel like Robin never truly wants the boys to make up with their father, even though she says she does, because she's done nothing. She hasn't done anything to encourage them to be together as a family. Instead, she does things like say she doesn't feel safe. Garrison said she took what was said as far as them wanting to try to figure out something to continue this tradition and put it into whatever process she does and made herself the victim by doing that. So let's think about this. What Garrison is essentially saying is, we wanted to have the exchange done in person, but that is not what Robin wanted. She wanted it to be done via Zoom. We already know that Gwen said the same thing, and so did the other kids at the table, that they felt it wasn't personal by just doing it on Zoom, which is when we heard that whole spill about how Ariella doesn't even know them and all those other things. So Garrison basically is saying that because they did not agree to do what Robin wanted to do, which was the Zoom call, she then turned herself back into a victim and made it a thing where she didn't want to do these things in person because it was very traumatic for her. This reminds me of why I have a problem with Mykelti. Because how is it that these other adults and teens, because Savannah was sitting at the table too, are having this very mature, very vulnerable conversation about the things they experience and how they feel about their dad and Robin, but Mykelti does not manage to call them out on it. Mykelti continues to play the middle, but we're supposed to believe that Mykelti isn't taking sides. Some of you agree with me that Mykelti is not really a middleman. I've even seen in the comments, and I don't remember if it was on the last video, but I saw in the comments that some people feel like Mykelti's a spy. It made me chuckle, but it's clear that Mykelti goes back and says some things to her father. Garrison says, we told her that we didn't mean it in that way. So we're not trying not to have Christmas. We're not trying not to be a part of the family. Gabe then says she was gaslighting everyone into treating her with special treatment, which is true because Robin has always done things differently than the other wives, and she's gotten away with it. Because in Cody's eyes, remember, Robin has always been the sweetest one, the most loyal one. So because she is all those things, Cody misses out on key things. I'm going to talk about that later down with a comment that was made by one of you all that just nailed it. Garrison agrees she was gaslighting. Gwen says because of the past 8 years, Robin has been able to make herself a victim because in her eyes, she's the last wife. Gwen says that her mother, which is Christine, never made herself a victim. I would like to add that Robin chose to be the last wife. Remember, you guys, she let us know that she chose Cody and she wanted his family. She chose to be on TLC. She chose to move her kids multiple times in 2 years. She chose to make sure that her kids were the first people who lived in a house, and she chose to make sure that we knew that at times her kids didn't feel like they were apart and all these other things, even though we saw the opposite. So, because Robin was the last wife, I believe Cody made special arrangements for her. And I do believe that at some point he did the same thing for Christine when Christine was the third wife, because Christine thought she was going to be the third and the last. I think that that's one of the reasons why Christine struggles so much, because her coming in and her adding light fluffiness and doing all the things that Cody wanted her to do made Cody happy. And it wasn't until Robin came in that he started having so many issues with Christine, and he kept making a point to let us know that Christine wasn't the same person. Anyways, back to Garrison. Garrison says Robin is the catalyst of all of this, of using COVID to make their father exclusive and then turning herself into the victim and saying that it's their fault. I agree. I also like to add, she did this with them deciding to go out of state during the pandemic. Remember, she had a problem with it. She did this with them not being willing to stay in Flagstaff when they were going to visit their other family members. She did this by telling her children that Christine didn't want to have anything to do with them, when it was just that she didn't want to have anything to do with Robin. She did this by telling them that the family didn't want to have Christmas or Thanksgiving with them, when it had nothing to do with that at all. That the reason why the family didn't want to do it was because of all the stipulations that they had in regards to coming together, and these grown adults had jobs and families of their own. She didn't encourage for Cody to get back with his kids. She even said at one point that she felt unsafe if they came over. Gwen points out that despite all of this, their father chose to spend Christmas with Robin and her kids. I'll add that he didn't even contact his own. The only child that he probably called was McKelty, and maybe he called Logan, because they're the ones who have managed to remain in the middle. Garrison says that the kids have been living their own lives and they protested for the sake of their mother's marriages. But once they saw that those were down the drain, they were like, okay, cool. We're going to do our own thing. So this made me feel like what he was trying to say was that the kids were trying to stick things out and that they were trying to fight for the sake of their mothers. Probably because of the things that they saw that happened to their moms and the favoritism and all those other things. They were still trying to be involved. But when they saw that their father wasn't even really trying and that their mothers were no longer trying, they gave up. Garrison says that Robin could no longer feel like the victim once they gave up, because she could no longer attack them. She could no longer feel them attacking her because they gave up and they didn't care about her anymore. Notice that with everything that the kids are saying, despite all that they've gone through, they're still not speaking negatively about Robin's kids. They're speaking negatively about her. But we all know that Robin will go back and make this where it wasn't just about her, where it was about them too. As I said in my review, Cody has listened to all of this and just determines that his kids are jerks and he doesn't want to be around, call them, or talk to them. Some father, right? Garrison says, and that is why I'm done with Robin and I don't care to talk to her anymore. He said, I'm not going to do it. I'm doing my own thing. He said Robin is probably mad that she can't have an effect on their lives anymore. And he just doesn't care. I don't think that is true that he doesn't care. I think that Garrison, along with his siblings, very much care about how things have gone with Robin and our dad. I think that him saying it makes it easier for him, but it's obvious, as I said in my previous review, that he's hurt and that he does love them. All the kids love their dad. They love their moms and they love their siblings, so they care. I just think that they're extremely hurt by him, and they have every reason to be. Gwen says, as I said in the last review, that she would like to say that she doesn't care, but she does. It still hurts. They all agree that they still want to have a relationship with the kids, but they don't want to deal with the manipulation and the crying that comes from Robin. Janae Flakes 4820, I hope I'm saying that right, says, I think the saying, the biggest bird in the sky never has to look up, applies to Cody and Robin. He thinks he's smarter than all of them, with very clear misogynistic undertones, so he would never suspect that Robin could mislead or manipulate him. He is a narcissist and views himself as the master of shifting narratives, not realizing Robin flies right above his head and drops down crumbs for him to follow. She also plays into the innocent, clueless damsel vibe with him, but is snarky and hostile with the others. What better way to sum all of this up than with that statement by Janae Flakes 4820. When I read that in the comment section, I was like, that's it. That is it. Cody and Robin. I asked that question in my previous video. Who do we think is to blame for the destruction of this family? And a lot of people are saying Cody. Some people are saying them both. I can see everybody's viewpoint. And I'm going to add this. Cody and Robin are very much to blame. But I do agree that at the end of the day, Cody is the head of his household. And Cody decided to share the reins with someone who he was so blinded by the love that he has for that person that he didn't even realize and still doesn't see all of the destruction that was caused by this person and by him. Y'all, let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. This is something a little different. Let me know if you liked it. I may do something similar again. I didn't want to spend so much time last video talking about this. It does bring up a lot of emotion. It does get you all in the feels. I was getting annoyed again watching that part because it just is so amazing to me that when Cody sits there and he hears his children saying these things, that the douchebag's response is that he doesn't like them and they're jerks and he doesn't want to be around them. These are your children, right? These are supposed to be the beings that God gave you. And yet all of that goes out the window. Your faith goes out the window. Your belief system goes out the window, all because you have some wives who finally started thinking for themselves and formulating their own opinions and weren't loyal to you. It's amazing what happens when pride gets in the way. And when you have a bird named Robin that comes and sweeps in. Until next time, you guys.